welcome back Campfire Strummer, and in this episode I'm going to talk to you about chord embellishments, and we're going to work with part of the song called Wildflowers by Tom Petty. I'm not going to teach you how to play that song, I'm just going to show you how we get around these chord embellishments because they take a little bit of time to get. Alright, so let's get into it. So when I first start teaching this song to students, adult students, I get them just to try and do everything at once so I can find out where they're at. All right, now generally they start, let me take it back a step. I don't get them to do the strumming pattern straight away. All right, I just get them to do that hammer-on part. All right, and in this case, we're using like an F chord, but it's with the pinky up on the top string at the 3rd fret, which is like an F9 chord, okay? So just the baby F. We don't do a bar chord for this one, all right? And when I say chord, it's the shape, all right? So I just get them to do that. All right, one, I want to see where their finger and hand strength is, but two, I'm also looking for how clean it sounds, okay? And what I mean by that is like, because a lot of people, especially if they've been strumming and changing chords for a little bit, generally fall into I'll call it a false sense of security, because like when you strum and you've got the 3 notes of the chord playing out, but you double up on some of those notes, it's easy for 1 or 2 notes, generally 1, to be muted, and you're not going to hear it so much because the other ones are ringing out in sympathy with it, right? When I mean sympathy, together with it. All right, so like if that's not clear for a couple of reasons, one, the finger strength's not there, but generally what I find is it's the 3rd finger, the fleshy part of the 3rd finger is hitting that 3rd string there. Right, so they're a little bit lazy with their technique, and working on something like this embellishment really does improve your technique. So it's a really good one really great song to use, but like use it in context as this is the exercise. You don't need a standalone exercise. This is the exercise that you need to play this song. All right, so what I get them to do is first, with the F chord, I just get them to pick through each string, right? Make sure it's nice and clean. If it's like that, there's a couple of mews going on. What I get them to do is just drop the thumb a little bit, which brings the wrist around slightly until they get it clean. It's not a drastic move down. You're not bringing the thumb right down to the bottom of the neck. It's just there. Instead of like really gripping, it's just bringing it down, relaxing the wrist a little bit more, right, and pick through nice and slowly. From there, I also get them to do it the same on the sus2 chord, which starts this. Okay, so just taking that middle finger off creates an F sus2 chord. In this case, with the 9th on top. All right, don't have to get technical on the chord names. All right, so a lot of them also still have, like, even though it may be clean, when for some reason their hand changes when they play their sus2, and they still get that muted 3rd string there. So we still just bring it back. So drop the thumb a little bit, right? And I get them just to do that. I get those things, so once that's clear, then I get just strum once and work that. And generally what we find there is this finger's very weak, right? And it's going to be when you first start. It took me ages to get this as well. And it's just a matter of finger independence, strength, all right? You don't need finger independence exercises when you got things in songs like this, all right? Especially as a beginner, all right? If you're off playing lead guitar, different story. We're not talking about that here. Not talking about finger independence exercises then. We're just talking about campfire strumming here. Okay, I want to make that clear. Right? Right. And you just practice. So we want both chords, the sus2 into the F chord there, to sound as clear as each other. Right? And that you're going to be, all right, that's hard for me to get a soft approach going on there because I've been doing this so long. But that's what you're aiming for, the same volume. All right, so from the F, you're going to do exactly the same now, but we're going to change to a C chord. So for this, in this song, what happens, he keeps the pinky up on top of the string there, 3rd fret, the first finger stays there, and fingers 2 and 3 move 1 string towards the roof. So you get a form of a C chord. It's still a C chord, it's just got a different voicing to it. Right? And then I get them to do the same thing. So students will play that, I'll get them to check how clean is that. And they find that the 3rd finger, again, because it's a big stretch, is generally getting in the way. So again, just like we did with the F9, I get them to drop the thumb a little bit, roll that wrist around a little bit, bringing those fingertips up, right? And then just play through. Okay? And then once that, obviously the same thing for the, because we're going to do is basically the same chord, but in this case it's just a C sus2. All right? So we want that open string, that open 4 string, to be open. Okay? Before we bring that finger down there. Okay? So I get him to go and work those 2 back and forths until it's getting some sort of clarity there for both chords. Now, in my experience teaching beginners this, adult beginners, it's not a 5-minute process, all right? So an hour could go by and they're still not getting the chords. I don't dwell on that. I just let them go at their own pace because it's going to work itself out when you get this middle finger working to come down like a hammer. Because that's basically what we're doing, just hammering that on to get that embellishment. Right? And all an embellishment is, it's just extra color to a chord, sort of dressing it up a little bit by adding a different note before we go in to play the actual chord. Right? There's more reasons than that, but like for this case, that's what that is. All right, so I got them to the F, to the C, and then we go to the G. There's no embellishment on that before we go back to the C. All right, so the trick is, once you get all those foundational parts sorted, and all right, it only happens on beat 1 of the chord. All right, so we got the F, C, G, and then back to the C. All right, now that change from the G back to the C, because we're going into a sus2, can be a little bit foreign for beginners' fingers as well. So what I get them to do there is just practice that C sus2 change. All right, so I've got the G, and then I'm just dropping my 3rd finger down 1 string to the 5th string there at the 3rd fret, and placing my pinky, my index finger back onto the 2nd string there at 1st fret as we do a C chord. All right, but I want to get those hands used to that change. Right, it's not going to sound the greatest because the sus2 chord, it needs resolving. That's why it's very closely related or used in context with a major chord. Right, so from the G, right, you may need to practice that to get used to. What you don't want to do, and I see students doing this all the time, is because they're so used to the C chord, all right, what they do, you go from the G to the C, but then lift up and then bring the finger back down, right? We don't want that. So we go to, all right, we don't want to train that, all right? We want these fingers to be at our command that we send from the brain, all right? So it's go G, so that's why I get them to practice the G to sus2, all right? Because if we go practice the G, but like there's already a movement there. And in this context of the song, in the what is it, when you're thrown into the fire, basically in the throes of battle, in the middle of the game, you don't want these extra movements because that's going to put your rhythm and timing out. Okay, so once you got that G to C sus2, right, then you just put the major chord back in. So G sus2. Sorry, G C sus2 C major, just by bringing the hammer back down. All right, so there's the things to look out for to get going with this song. It's a great song. All right, now those embellishments are on the first beat of the measure. Now, this another thing I'll share with this song is like most people think that the chords change on beats 1 and 3, all right? But it's in what we call cut time. So what you're going to do is instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now that gets a bit of a mouthful. I'm saying that out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and as I always teach and preach, with CPR, chunk it down, play it slow, repetitions. So even if you slow the counting down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. As long as you're counting 4 before you change the chord, you're right in the game. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and that is how I get students started with learning these embellishments because they come up in many songs. I just found this Tom Petty one, Wildflowers, is a great way. Because you capo at 5, the frets aren't as wide and you can start getting that hammer going as you need, all right? All right, but I get that going first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Get that going. Slowly build up the tempo there with them before I even add the strumming pattern. Because the reason being is if you haven't got this hand going, doing what it needs to do, adding this color over here with the strumming hand, it just doesn't make sense. It's going to stress you out, overwhelm you, right? And it's going to get to the point where you think you're not good enough, you can't do this. In reality, we can do this. Right, you can do this, you just need to slow it down, chunk it down, play it slow, and do repetitions. Right, get this going right before adding all that sort of stuff. Okay, so that's how you get those embellishments going for Wildflowers. Great song, have fun with it. Let me know in the comments below if you need any help or you found any other ways to get these embellishments going. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.